Hey boos, in this video I give commentary based on my opinion. Nothing is to be taken as factual. We are just here to have conversation. We don't expose and we don't sip tea on this channel. I'm giving you real talk straight, no chaser. Let's see if you can handle it.
Cause I'm a boss.
Oh, hell no.
Hi guys, it's Yanni and I'm back with another video. So before we get into today's video, I just wanted to come on here to let you guys know that I've been super inconsistent lately, and it's because my family has needed me more during this time than ever, and it's just a lot has been going on within my personal life, and it's like one thing after the next, and after the next there's another thing. And so I've just been going through a bunch of highs and lows, and so I really had to sit down and prioritize my life and what truly matters, and YouTube came last. So with that being said, I'm doing a lot better, but next week it could be something else. You know, that is just how my life has been this year for 2020. It's like one thing after the next. So my family needs me, and I've been doing a lot of running around, and so I haven't really even been able to sit down and record or even edit, because you know, editing requires a lot of my time, and so it's kind of hard trying to choose who to be there for when I'm still trying to do YouTube, I'm still trying to upload, I'm still trying to work, I'm still trying to do all of these other things. And so YouTube ended up taking the back seat. So I do apologize for that. I do feel like I owe you guys an explanation, because I have been MIA and I have been inconsistent, and to me I just don't like that. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Life has been just super crazy lately. I do apologize for my inconsistency, but I promise that if I can just get through whatever this is in my life right now, where I'm just getting hit with just trials and tribulations one after the next, I promise that it will be a positive outcome. I feel like this is happening to me for a reason. I wanted to take your mind off of this coronavirus, COVID-19. I feel like it's affecting so many different people, and I'm sending love and light to you guys who may be affected by this COVID-19. But let's go ahead and get into this video. I wanted to talk about this clip that went viral, and it brought up a great discussion. Let's go ahead and get into this video, and then I'll be back for the remainder of my commentary.
What you mean?
Talk to me about what? Like, I don't know what it is that you want to talk about. Please, go to the house.
You broke up with me.
Because you made an OnlyFans account and I told you not to.
Okay, are you gonna pay my bills?
Bro,
What are you talking about?
Get out of here,
Really? You gonna
Bro, go home. I can talk.
What you mean?
Talk to me about what? Like, I don't know what it is that you want to talk about. Please, go to the house.
You broke up with me.
Because you made an OnlyFans account and I told you not to.
Okay, are you gonna pay my bills?
Bro,
What are you talking about?
Get out of here,
Really? You gonna
go home. I can talk.
So first and foremost, I'm going to start with this, okay? This is my opinion. I put a disclaimer in my intro, and I'm going to say it again. This is my opinion. If you take my opinion personally, that is your fault. Has nothing to do with me. This is just my opinion. This is how I choose to live my life. And also, I'm not attacking sex workers. This is not directed towards sex workers. This is directed towards the women who want to be in committed relationships. So with that being said, let me dive into this topic. First and foremost, a boyfriend is not obligated to pay for anything, period. Not legally, and not at all. He's just not obligated to pay for anything. When you fill out your taxes, when you go to the doctor's office, when you fill out a professional legal form, they don't ask you if you are in a relationship. Do you have a boyfriend? They ask you, are you married, single, or widowed? That's it. So this obligation that's going around, this trend that's going around thanks to Cardi B and the City Girls, a boyfriend is not obligated to pay your bills, period. A husband, that's a totally different story. And if a lot of you guys really want a man to pay your bills, or the majority, you need to seek marriage where you share the financial burden. But to make it a requirement for a boyfriend to pay bills or to pay for things doesn't make any sense to me. You don't want to be in a marriage, but you do want it to be a standard or a requirement for a man to pay your bills or majority of your bills. Then it sounds like you want to be a sugar baby. I'm just being real with you guys. If you want a man to pay your bills or the majority of your bills, you need to do it the right way and seek him out to be a lifelong partner that requires him legally to share the financial burden with you. A lot of you guys have it confused because you are listening to these lyrics that are coming from ex-sex workers, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Cardi B was a stripper. I think the City Girls, I think they were strippers. Where are you guys getting your advice from? You have to ask yourself if you're getting it from a person that is living the lifestyle that you truly want. And a lot of them are baby mamas. A lot of them are in relationships with men where they get cheated on. A lot of them are in relationships where they're the breadwinners. Cardi B is one of them. So it's just crazy to me how you guys soak up those lyrics as if you can apply them to real life. Those lyrics are strictly for entertainment. And if you want to try to use them in your everyday, day-to-day life, I'm just going to let you know that you're going to make it very hard on yourself, especially when it comes to the dating world. You're going to find yourself in some very uncomfortable situations with men, and it's not going to be pretty. I'm just letting you guys know that. The financial burden is shared through marriage. The financial burden is shared through lifelong partnerships, but the financial burden is not shared with a boyfriend. Now, I will say this. There was a young lady that I posted on my Instagram. She made a tweet making it the standard for her that she requires men to pay for everything, right? Now, me personally, I took that tweet as if she's saying that she wants to meet a man of her equal. She wants to meet a man on her level. This is a woman that pays for everything on her own, so she wants to meet a man that can offer the same thing. That's how I took that tweet. I didn't take the tweet like, oh, a boyfriend should pay for everything. I took that tweet like, hey, this is a woman that brings the whole table. She wants a man that can match her. That's how I took that tweet. Again, a boyfriend is not obligated legally to pay for anything, and I just don't know where you guys got that from. This is why shacking up is a risk taker, because you may be subjecting yourself to 50-50, struggle love, and all other type of stuff. Do it the right way. Create a solid foundation for yourself to where a man is legally obligated to share the financial burden with you. And then within your relationship, when you guys are just boyfriend and girlfriend, you guys need to have that discussion on how you want the financial burden to be shared. Do you want him to take majority of the load? Do you want him to take half of the load? Do you want him to take a little bit of load? Whatever. Make sure you have that conversation within your boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, but understand a boyfriend is legally not obligated to pay your bills. And this is why I don't advise shacking up. I don't advise any of those things because it creates too much space for dysfunction. You have girls on the internet who really think a boyfriend is supposed to be their father figure, and that is just not the case. When it comes to being feminine and being a feminine woman, you have to have a solid foundation where you are able to stand on your own 2 feet. We're not going to overcompensate ourselves and say, oh, I'm the independent black woman, I don't need a man. No. What we're going to do is say this: you have to be self-sufficient in order to survive in this world. That is a fact. But when a man comes in the picture, right, and he offers to help you, you don't have to beg, you don't have to scream, you don't have to shout. Allow him to do that. But don't make it an obligation. Stop trying to force these men to do stuff that they don't want to do. That's how you end up in situations where you're cheated on. You end up in situations where he didn't want the baby, but you had a baby with him thinking that would keep you. You find yourself in situations like that, and then you start to become resentful, bitter, and then regret starts to sink in. Take your time. Stop trying to rush the stage of getting to know a person. When you put all of these extra complicated things on top of one another, like making your boyfriend, it's an obligation for him to pay for your financial situation, you're putting too much responsibility on a phase where you're literally supposed to get to know a person. In a marriage, it's completely different. That's on a whole nother level. That's on a whole nother playing field. But a boyfriend, he is just, that is the phase where you're supposed to get to know him to see if you can make him a husband. And to me, when it comes to this video, that just wasn't her husband. If a man is okay with watching you struggle and he sees that you're struggling, and it may be financially, it may not be financially, and he doesn't step in to help, whether it's to help you change your tire, whether it's to help you get to and from work, maybe your car broke down, or whether or not you're just going through a hardship and he's just not there to help you, not do it for you, but to help you, that is a man that I would advise not to take it any further with. That is just my opinion. But a marriage license, you are legally obligated to share the financial burden, and stop making a boyfriend your end all be all goal. You're putting yourself in a very dysfunctional situation, and our system, the society that we live in, was not set up for us to acknowledge boyfriends in that way. Marriage only, and that's how it is currently. That is how it's always been. I feel like it should continue to be that way because it just makes sense to me. A marriage is a business, and when you go into business with a person, you guys share the financial burden. Another thing, never beg a man to do anything for you. If a man doesn't want to do it, he's not going to do it. So why argue him down? Why scream? Why shout? If a man doesn't see your worth, he doesn't understand your standards, he doesn't value your standards, walk away. There's no need in you arguing him down. At that point, you've lost. There's no need in that. If you feel that this man isn't there for you in your time of need, not in your time of want, but in your time of need, then leave him. Learn the art of walking away. If you have communicated, you have voiced how you have felt, and he didn't take your feelings into consideration, you've also set him down and you have voiced your concerns, and he still doesn't get it, learn the art of walking away. Once you communicate, you give that person space and you set the standards, and then you also give him space to correct his wrongs, and he still doesn't do it, walk away. Learn the art of walking away. Don't walk away as soon as a person does something you don't like. Communicate with them first. If they still continue on with it, walk away. If it affects you in a negative way after you have the conversation, walk away. This is the principle that I live by. What I consider tolerable is something that is out of a man's control. What I consider not tolerable is something that is in his control, and the outcome was something he could control. Something that is in his control, I don't feel is tolerable, especially if it affects me in a negative way. So learn the art of walking away. And like I said before, any man that you're in a relationship with, if he is comfortable with watching his woman struggle, that is not a man that I would make my husband. That is a man that I would make a friend, and I would pack up my things and I would leave. That is not a man that I would ever acknowledge as a boyfriend, or worse, a husband. If he is comfortable with you struggling and he doesn't do anything about it, he doesn't help you, nothing. And it's not always about handing a person money. Sometimes it's just being there emotionally for that person. Sometimes it's offering help in other ways. Maybe it's not always money, but is he truly there in your time of need? If the answer is no, learn the art of walking away. That is not a boyfriend that you should turn into a husband or a lifelong partner. Also, another thing, I noticed this trend on social media where girls feel like they have to argue with men to feel validated. And if you have a standard, that is your standard. You don't have to voice your standard publicly. Stop blasting yourself on social media. Carry yourself as high maintenance. High maintenance women, we don't explain our worth, our standards to anybody. You either meet them or you don't. Me arguing with you is a waste of my time. I'm not arguing with anyone. If this is my standard, this is my standard. If this is what I require, this is what I require. I'm not arguing with people about them. Blasting myself, letting people who aren't asking about my standards know my standards. What's the point? I only need to discuss that if it comes up in conversation with the man that I'm currently dating. And if that's not going on, me blasting myself doesn't make sense. Majority of the time when I blast myself on social media is so I'm helping people get put up on game. But other than that, I don't blast myself on social media. I like to keep things very private, because that's how you can really control what's going on in your personal life. When you put everything out on the internet and you share it with everybody, it no longer becomes this place of sacredness and privateness that you need in order to be successful with your dating life or relationships. You just don't need to share everything. Keep things to yourself. Stop blasting yourself publicly publicly on social media, especially while dating. You don't need people to criticize on what you're doing or what you're going through, because it may be a milestone, it may be a growth spurt that you're going through, and you just don't need the criticism. So keep it to yourself. This is the main reason why I haven't shared the person that I've been dating consistently for a whole year, and people didn't even know that. A lot of you guys didn't even know that, and it's so crazy to me because I get crazy comments under my videos talking about she just another bitter single girl, and I'm just like, excuse me, but you know what, I'm gonna let y'all think what y'all want to think, and I'm gonna be happy offline. Stop explaining yourself, stop arguing with these men. If you are high maintenance, you are not going to waste your precious time arguing with a man on the internet that you've never met and like really try to convince them that your standards matter. Who cares? No one cares. Carry yourself as high maintenance. When you carry yourself as high maintenance, you understand the importance of your worth. You understand that when you carry yourself as high maintenance, that you have high confidence in yourself. You also think highly of yourself, and then not only that, you have high self-esteem. You're not going to be on social media arguing a man down, trying to convince him that you're worth these standards that you have. Who cares? That's between you and the person that you're dating. And let me tell you something, how you treat yourself and how you carry yourself will set the tone for your standard. That is my rule of thumb. And when you do the internal work, right, and you set those self-principles that I talked about on my Instagram story, self-principles are self-love, self-confidence, self-discipline, self. When you do the internal work, everything will fall into place. So you don't have to share your standards, publicly blast yourself about your standards to anybody. You don't have to explain your standards or your worth to anybody. How you carry yourself will set the tone, and it will speak for itself. I have never, in the 20-something years that I've been alive, I've never really had to sit down and explain my standards to anybody. I don't feel the need to. I just don't understand why do I need to do that? And a lot of you guys say, well, I don't want a man, I don't need a man, but then you will sit there and argue a man down trying to seek validation through the argument. And it's just like, girl, let it go. He's intentionally not trying to understand your point of view. Let it go. Also, standards stem from self-principles. So when you do the internal work, those standards are something that people will see. It's not something that you have to express or explain. So standards, it really stems from those self-principles that I listed earlier, like self-discipline, self-confidence, self-esteem. All of these things correlate with self-principles. And when you do the internal work, you don't have to explain your standards to anybody. You don't have to explain your worth to anybody. Now, when it comes to this viral video, honestly, these two individuals are not wrong. They're rightfully so within who they are as individuals. And so you have this man over here who feels disrespected because he's in a relationship, he's in a committed relationship with a woman who created a fans only page when he told her that he wasn't comfortable with that, right? And then you have a woman over here who seems to be financially struggling, and she happens to be in a relationship with a man who sees her financially struggling, and I guess maybe they had a conversation. I can only make assumptions, but they had a conversation about her financial hardship, and he didn't want to help. You know, he was okay with watching her struggle, right? So she made a fans only account because she felt like she did what she had to do, and then he broke up with her because he felt disrespected. Neither of these individuals are wrong, but they just weren't right for each other. And it's just that simple. She has the standard for a man to be there for her in her time of need, and he wants a woman that is not going to go behind his back and disrespect him in a way where she's making a fans only account, and God knows what she's posting to her fans only. We can only imagine. Maybe she's doing soft porn, or maybe she's not. Who knows? But he wasn't comfortable with that, and he felt disrespected. So they're not wrong. I feel like they're both right within their own rights. However, I will say this, majority of men are not going to be comfortable with you making a fans only account knowing that you're putting yourself out there in a way while being in a committed relationship. If you want to be a sex worker, be a sex worker. But if you are in a relationship and you're in a committed relationship with a man, you have to consider his feelings. And a lot of women don't want to consider a man's feelings as if they are non-existent. If you have feelings, right? why doesn't he? If you don't want to perform wifely duties while just in a relationship, why would you expect for him to perform husband duties while in a relationship? Some of you guys are just so one-sided and unreasonable, and this is why I create the content that I create, because we need balance. If you don't want to perform wifely duties, don't expect for him to perform husband duties, because a husband will pay for everything. A husband will take on the financial burden that you have, right? A boyfriend is not obligated to do that. A husband will. A provider man will. But a provider man is only obligated to do those things in a marriage, legally. So if you are wanting a man to pay your bills and pay majority of your bills, you need to make marriage your end goal. And that is just my opinion. But you cannot expect some of these men to be comfortable with you having a fans only page when you're putting yourself out there for other men to see you in ways that was really only meant for him to see. I mean, have we lost sight of that? Do you not want to leave something to the imagination? Don't you want to give your partner this explicit side to yourself sexually? I mean, I understand there are women out here who want to be sex workers, and I'm not talking to you guys. I'm not addressing you guys at all. I'm strictly speaking to the women who want commitment out of a man. You have to be reasonable. I personally would not be comfortable with my boyfriend or husband making a fans only page. That is something that you guys will have to sit down and discuss and see what that person is comfortable with and what they're not comfortable with. And if they're not comfortable with you having a fans only page, then, and if you feel that you are in the right and you feel that having a fans only page is worth it, then break up with that person and move on. So him breaking up with her and then her screaming and shouting, hey sis, you did what you did, he reacted, and that is the outcome. So I just think that sometimes we as women, we hold men to these standards that we don't hold ourselves. I'm not going to make it an obligation for a boyfriend of mine to perform husband duties because I'm not performing wifely duties. That is my principle. That is the code that I live by. And then also, if a man is dating me and he's seeing that I'm financially struggling, I'm going through a financial hardship, and he doesn't help me at all, he doesn't help me at all. You know, he doesn't buy me groceries because maybe I really needed them, or he doesn't pick me up from work because it could save me gas, or maybe he does certain little things that can help me save my money, then me personally, I wouldn't call that person my boyfriend. That wouldn't be my man at all. That's not a man that I would want to be in a relationship with. So learn the art of walking away and understand that not every man is out here is going to meet your standards. So keep it moving. If you do make your boyfriend, right, if your standard is for your boyfriend to pay for your bills, right, understand that majority of men are not going to go for that. But if that's your standard, sis. But I'm saying my opinion is this: a boyfriend is not obligated to pay your bills. That is my opinion. But if you still want to make that your standard, a boyfriend pay your bills, by all means sis, do you. But I don't feel like that's reasonable. And when you put yourself out there in that way, you get treated that way. You get treated like an object. When you date men with money, they have a high level ego, and you get treated disposable. Like I don't know how else to explain it, but maybe it was the men that I encountered. But I felt like when I dated men that had a lot of money and they had a lot of resources, I was treated as if I was like so disposable, and I just didn't like that. Be reasonable, you guys. If you have a boyfriend, do not expect for him to fulfill husband duties. Okay, leave that for marriage. That's another thing when it comes to the millennials and the millennial generation. Leave something for marriage, or leave something for that part in your life where you want to really get serious. A lot of y'all trying to do too much too soon. Like, get to know a person, befriend a person, date a person, take your time. Like, stop rushing everything. Stop trying to make a boyfriend do husband duties. If you can avoid it, I wouldn't shack up either, because then you're putting yourself in a space where it leaves too much room for things that are expected because you're living together, and you really don't want to do that, because it can cause dysfunction. It's not even about, oh, I'm never going to get the ring because I moved in. It's not even about that. It's about how it can be dysfunctional. But if the end goal is marriage, moving in makes sense. But if the end goal is not marriage, you just did it because it was cheap and you guys needed to share the financial burden because you guys couldn't make it on your own, you're subjecting yourself to a 50-50 type of roommate style relationship, or worse, marriage. So you just have to really slow it down. I can't stress that. Slow it down. down. Take your time, sis. Like, you young, you cute, you the prize, you all of these things. Relax. He ain't going nowhere, okay? Especially when you looking like this. He ain't going nowhere. Relax. Take your time. He gonna still be there. Just chill out, okay? Chill out. Go hang out with your friends for a few hours. I don't know, but chill out. Chill out. Chill out. So there's a debate that this whole thing, this video is fake. I think it's fake, but hey, it brought up a great discussion. I'm gonna clout chase off of this, and yeah, that's all that I have regarding this video. I would love your thoughts and opinions, so make sure you comment them down below. And I am super late on announcing my waist trainer giveaway. The winners for the testimonial waist trainer giveaway are Lanie Woods and Tamara Gates. So I will be emailing you guys. I will be reaching out. Like I said, my personal life has been crazy. I was supposed to announce the winners on May 15th, but you guys, that week was insane. But I'm still going to be sending out these waist trainers to you guys, and I really appreciate everyone that submitted their testimonials. I will be using them on my website, so if you see your testimonial on there, don't be surprised. My website is still coming. It's just delayed because of COVID-19. I want a studio photo shoot, so I have held off my website for the time being, but it's still coming. I'm offering mentorship. I'm offering self-confidence packages and things like that, certain things that helped me along the way. And if you've been following me for some time now, then you already got the tea on different techniques that I use, like my focus wand, things like that. But my mentorship is going to be more personable. We're going to be doing exercises and check-ins and all of that great stuff. So I'm not going to rush it. When it's ready, when God says it's ready, then it will be ready, and it will happen, and it will fall into place, and it will be smooth, and it won't be all of this chaos. So I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing it, and I know it's going to happen when God intends it to happen. And that's all that I have regarding this video. I would love your thoughts and opinions, so make sure you comment them down below. And if you are new here, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you are notified for when I upload. And I'll catch you guys in my next one. I love you guys so much, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.